That's correct. This is Jeremiah. He's back. This is my last video for my day. I don't know about your day, but I'm going to wrap this up, and we're going to easily finish Sagittarius, and we're going to get into Capricorn, obviously, here, because we're just about done. Now remember, these signs have a sequence of the child being born, the child facing his main command from Father, which is to save humans and to face the scorpion in order to do that. And he has to be wise in this authoritative takeover. And in spite of the fact that God is creator of everything and is supreme, he obviously likes to do everything legally. He demands a lot of legality and fairness, and he holds the scales, and he's very serious about being fair, let's put it that way. And Scorpio is pretty easy to get into, so is Sagittarius, because we have thine arrows are sharp in the heart of the king's enemies. So the Christ's enemies are people who love to do harm and are mean people and they don't love. Those are the enemies of Jesus Christ, because he is love. Okay, so it's just that simple. Okay, now we have the reason why. Is people are going to fall under his feet. That's the point. Whereby the people fall under thee. So that's what's going to happen. And it happened when Christ was resurrected, so that when people got out in the church to go save souls, nothing got in their way. For that is the power of God, is salvation, so that the name is glorified. And so, but as far as people having personal aggrandizements, like I see on television, some of these people who don't teach the Bible very well, at all maybe, but let's let that go. They're not teaching what we teach, which is Christianity was never meant for you to have some sort of joyride in this life. It's for you to focus on seeking the kingdom first and not being concerned with what happens other than that. Because you don't have to be concerned. Well, let's put it this way. You don't have to be worried. Because you observe the lilies of the field and see how gently they sway and how beautifully clothed they are in colors of green and so forth. God gave them that green. And if he can do that to them, he'll take care of you in general. And of course, if he doesn't take care of you and you come to him, then you're in a good position, because now you're building a testimony and you have some evidence that you do indeed love the Lord, and you do indeed want to please the Lord, even when things aren't going your way. And you're willing to sacrifice or to exchange certain privileges in this life for the building up of his sheep and taking care of the people he loves. And that's essentially what John says in his first letter, correct? So you're learning, then you're praising. That's the idea. That we're learning about all of this, and then we're going to praise as we learn. And as the joy comes into your heart, you're going to respond with, praise you, Jesus, because you didn't have that before. I didn't necessarily want to praise God before I became a Christian, because I didn't know anything about God too much at all. But now that I know all of this plan, and we're on the fourth sign here, now that I know about all of this beautiful story of a love story of Father and the Son prioritizing me with all of this energy and this work and this concentration of the Sagittarius here, who is wise and so forth. And let's wrap it up. Gird thy sword upon thy thigh. And that goes to Perseus and Medusa and so forth later on in our lessons. Romans 1:1-4, and declared to be the Son of God with power, made of the seed of David according to the flesh. So we have the Sagittar, we have a two-natured being, we have the human body representing divinity, probably here, I would say so, and the horse's tail there would be the human. And this God-man was successful in his endeavor to purchase human beings and to allow them to come to him legally and to be saved instantly, basically, is what's going on here. Because when you come to Jesus Christ and you serve him and you love him, and even if you have problems in doing so, there's a very good chance the Lord's going to be patient with you, because the Lord is long in mercy, and I've experienced that, and many of you have. And here's my point, that he's going to be successful in whatever he deals with, and that even goes with working with you. So, and of course, he's going to use that high love and that high intelligence, which is the word we use for agape, right? And that he's going to be successful with his arrows and his accuracy, which is one of the main points here in these scriptures here in Psalm 45 and in that's Habakkuk 3:11. You have accuracy going on here. Revelation 19:15 refers to the power. So we have power, we have accuracy, and with this power and this accuracy, this omniscience and this omnipotence, we have the results of a successful fight and a successful a winner, an overcomer, and who is going to successfully purchase those who have tilted the scale. For God so loved the world that tilted the scale, that he gave his son, the coma, the child, and the child grew up, and the child got his bow and arrow together, and he was sharp and precise, and he used superior intelligence and superior power, and he had love, which the enemy didn't have. The enemy has care for each other. The kingdom of darkness is united. They take care of each other pretty well. However, they don't do it with love. They do it with affection and so forth. Like a herd of hyenas or something who stick together, a pack of wolves. They don't have love. They watch out for each other. But you better watch out, because if they don't love each other, they might attack each other, correct? That is correct. There is no honor amongst thieves, as they say. This kingdom of the scorpion, there's no honor amongst these people. Now, they do have concern for each other, but since they don't know what love is or what agape is, how do they know what real care is? They don't. The only way to know real care, deep love, with intelligence, it is through Jesus Christ. He is the way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He's the only way you're going to find a real super deep love, and which is called agape. And it demands intellectualism. It demands it. Essentially. Okay? Or we can tell that God wants people to pursue a high intellectual level. Scriptures, commands, history, prophecy, everything. Which is what I do here. I'm turning agneos into genos, and genos into epigenos, and epigenos into oidos. Those are the steps of learning. And the goal is for all of us to be oidos. To know the God fully well through basic Bible study, and to have a good, what the Bible calls circumspect, or a panoramic view of your world. Perspicacity, you have insight into various things that you didn't have before. That's God's goal for you. It's wisdom, redemption, and sanctification, and so forth. So he wants you to be wise and intelligent, and that's why we have Solomon's book, which says, Proverbs, just to take in instruction. I meet people all the time. They don't really want to receive instruction, I can tell. well, that's on them. I mean, it's my job to push them and exhort them in that direction, right? To take advantage of the unction and the power of Father's ghost, his love force, to push them along. But if they reject that plug in the wall, then they're going to just sit there and they won't function, right? It's just like having a Coke machine that it's not working. And it's a hot day, and I would really like to have a Coca-Cola. One of my first experiences, let me tell you about an experience. One of my first experiences in having refreshment was when I was a child, and I used to go to the boys' club, and at the end of a day, that Mountain Dew, which was ice cold coming out of that thing tasted awfully good. That hit the spot. After running around the boys' club gym, shooting pool, chasing Frank's chasing me, and then I grab one of those ice cold Mountain Dews, man. Woo! I think Mountain Dew's changed, but boy, that really hit the spot. Like having ice cold water or ice cold lemonade or something. And that's what God does. He hits the spot for you so that your soul rejoices. We just looked at Psalm 19, the word of the Lord enlightens the eyes and stuff. It changes you. You're a different person, big time. When you kneel to Jesus Christ instantly and as your character develops. All things become new and from faith to faith and so on. Let's let that go. So we're done with that. He was made of the seed of David according to the flesh, Romans 1. That's Paul's discourse on Jesus being God and man, okay? And of course, it's a mystery of God and so forth, how that could happen, but it happened. And let's move on as we move on to, we're going to go to Capricorn, okay? We're moving right along here. We're already on 4, we're on 5, so that's pretty quick. We're going to make sure we go through this thoroughly and talk about how 3 and 4 go together right well. Because you have the enemy, and then you have the arrows, and you have Hercules crushing Ra's al Ghedi and the star, and obviously the enemy is vanquished here, and the hero has stepped up, and the opposition's gone. Essentially, that you can live with a mindset, and your heart and mind are protected from all, what can we say, positions or conditions that are unfavorable. Now, my body may be in some bad conditions, but we have that beautiful song that we sing in churches, "It is well with my soul." Whatever my lot is, thou hast taught me to say. Paul said, whether I abound or I am abased, I've learned to just be very happy with being saved and the Lord's love and the Christian brethren love. That's not going anywhere. And so I'm going to rejoice in that, in the coming of the Lord, which my circumstances have nothing to do with. As long as I'm walking, as John said, you're walking in the truth, then we're all doing fine. You're on the narrow path, you're eschewing evil, and everything's hunky-dory. You're standing on the solid rock. On Christ, the solid rock, I stand. All other ground is sinking sand, which is in reference, of course, to Matthew and your gospel record of the house that was built on righteousness and teaching mercy and so forth. That's the solid ground, okay? And of course, we're also dealing with some other scriptures here, other issues. Let's move on. I'm gonna take a pause here. As I decided to look into a little bit of the arrows and the accuracy and so forth, I have a wonderful movie. I'll tell you a quick story before we go to the next. I have a wonderful movie where a very nice gentleman who's a little proud of himself. He meets a beautiful lady, and she's trying to figure him out because he's obviously very much attracted to this gentleman. He's a very nice guy, but she's beginning to see that there's a problem. He's a little cocky, he's a little spoiled, and he thinks of himself more highly than he should, and she's not giving him a chance to grow. He wants to care for her, but he basically confessed to her that he was raised to look at other people, down on other people, essentially, because they're not as well educated as he is, and she's middle class. So it's a wonderful movie because she's learning to be tolerant with people. The end of Matthew chapter 5. We're supposed to love the unlovable to a certain extent and do that with wisdom. I'm not talking about people who are very abusive right now. I'm talking about people who are on a path to becoming better people. We have to help them. We're not here to tell everybody goodbye who does something wrong. And that's what she was willing to do. She gave him a hard time because she could see, and he confessed that he was having a problem, learning to just be a human being, equal to everybody out there. I was given high accolades in college for a few things. I could have beaten possibly the chess champion there, a Russian gentleman at the university. I beat him one day. I'm not bad at chess, but my point is, I'm not necessarily a very good chess player. I get lucky at times. I think that's what it was with me. I'm not that good at chess, but I beat him. I got lucky, But my point is, they gave me accolades in school. Let me tell you something. I told some of my fellow students, because I tied some record for the best scores or something in the midterms. You know what I told the students? I said, listen, I'm just a student here, and I'm nobody. I'm very happy that I scored well because I worked hard. But as far as me getting some sort of congratulations, I don't want any congratulations. The only congratulations here is Jesus. That's the only person or any entity that gets congratulations around here. And furthermore, I'm not doing that well in my math class. I have a very difficult math teacher who keeps throwing curveballs, and I'm a little nervous in the class. I'm just like you, okay? And I appreciate you wanting to congratulate me. I did work hard for the test, but I want you to understand that I'm really nobody. That's what I am. And the only person that gets any rewards around here, or any accolades, or crown him with many crowns, not me. He is the King of Glory. So leave me out of it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's nice of you. But and I got that quite a bit in college. What's my point? My point is that to God be the glory for all this work we're looking at here. Now we're going to go to the suffering aspects of this wise one, okay? This wise, two-natured being, Father and Son, or rather the Son of Man, and the only begotten of the Spirit, okay? Divine conception in Mary, a very nice lady evidently, and but in many ways a normal lady. All right, we'll be right back. We're right back. We're on 5 and 6, and guess what? We're just about done with halfway through with this, and we only have 10 videos. I forgot, not very many videos here. I forgot the number. Boy, I forget my numbers here. Let's get to Capricorn, and of course we're going to get to Aquarius. And once again, Aquarius probably refers to another two-natured being. However, I get the inclination that it's not a two-natured being, and we're just dealing with a man or the God-man who pours his love out on humanity, his mercy. Very similar to the rainbow of Noah's day. Very similar concepts here. Because God is pouring his mercy out on people. He knows who they are, but he's still going to love them, and he's going to take care of them. And that goes back to my grace, mercy, and peace lessons that I have available for you here, okay? Which is category 4. I just put them up, some new ones. New lessons on grace, mercy, peace, and rest. And essentially almost every lesson deals with grace and mercy. And in this case, I wanted to point out that God said he was going to mercy human beings, which means he knows what they're doing wrong, and he's going to be more tolerant of their behavior. You know, when I was growing up, they used to say things like, shine it on, bro. That was very popular. That's how old I am. That was in the early 70s, late 60s. You would see a hippie guy who was kind of a hippie, and he would say, hey, bro. I said, oh, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean to do that. And he would say, shine it on, bro. In other words, I know what you did, and I know you did something, and you shouldn't have did it, but let's just forget about it. That's essentially what God's doing in Aquarius. He's pouring down his love on people he knows them full well. That's very significant, isn't it? It sure is. Let me see if I can get a closer picture here. We're having a camera problem, lighting problem, I apologize. We're having a problem with this camera here. We're going to leave it at that. We're having a lighting problem here. Hold on a moment. Let's see if I can fix this. Yeah, we're having a problem here. I apologize for this. But, you know, we're just going to read the scriptures and I'll read it off to you. I wanted you to see this clearly. Let's try this method here. Okay, Capricorn, horned goat. What is a Capricorn? What is a horned goat? Before we do, let's finish this mercy aspect because, see, mercy is one of the top, 10 components of your entire Bible, as many of you know. In the first two teachings, two chapters of the Master's teachings chronologically in Matthew chapter 5 and 6, what you have is you have two chapters that focus on mercy as the main idea. The main idea, or one of the top 2 or 3 ideas in chapters 5 and 6 of Matthew, where the Master starts teaching, what we have is we have 2 areas, or 3 areas, but the main area might be, and probably is, mercy. And here I wanted to explain to you, boots on the ground, from America's perspective maybe, Americanisms, is that's what mercy means. It means that you're getting something that you don't deserve, and the person who's giving it to you knows who you are. I have a movie about brave American Marines dying on Wake Island. They were too small a company, and the Japanese were too close, and they were wiped out. But they did do some brave things, and they did make a big dent in the enemy's arsenal. But they were all killed, and it's a very sad story. But they died like men, as they say, and there's a lot of deception going on there, which goes back to Scorpion. I'm not going to talk about the Japanese in a negative light too much, but they did present a very deceptive situation, because they came to Wake Island with a representative who was toasting peace. But he knew that the next day they were going to attack the island when he left. He knew that, but he was smiling and basically laughing right in their face. And he knew that they were basically going to be wiped out. There were too small a company there of Marines to defend the island properly against 4 or 5 warships. They were toast. And he was talking to them, and he was saying, "Oh, let's toast your president, you know." Mr. Roosevelt, and to peace, and he was heading back to Japan. That island is very close to Japan. So he flew from there after he made this fake international gesture while they were having a dinner. He knew that they were going to probably be wiped out in a couple of days. He knew they were going to declare war on America, and that this was a small outpost of our armed services. But what I wanted to say was, get back to the point, as you can tell, I like a lot of patriotic movies, but here's my point. My point is that one of the guys was just brought into the camp, into the, I don't know if he came in on one of the Clippers or something, but, and they were hanging around the boys, and one of the guys said, you know what, we know you, but we still like you. This is the way God is with humans. He knows who you are. He knows that you're not perfect. He knows that you've made errors. And he knows that you'll probably, if you're a human being and a Christian, that you're going to do some more things before you pass away that are going to not be pleasing to the Lord. Okay? In New York, they used to say, forget about it. You know, hey, you know, Bill, I didn't mean to. And it's popular was in New York to say, forget about it. There are various ways that people can show mercy to each other. This is a big part of your Bible. Boy, if you can get your hands around this, of course, the Master has a long parable where he took a lot of time in the parable of the forgiven steward and so forth. But we'll let that go for now. I wanted to mention to you that while we teach this Bible, we remind ourselves of the key issues. Okay? I'm going to remind you of key issues pertaining to Christianity and how it relates to being Capricorn or Sagittarius or whatever. They're the core issues and they're the core principles that we teach in every lesson. That the Capricorn here, he's going through all of this pain and suffering because he knows what's going to happen at the end of all of this. He knows that the people that he's dying for, like me, are imperfect. I might want to do the right thing today, but who knows what might happen tomorrow. That's the way humans are. And that's just the bottom line. Okay? So the Capricorn is the horned goat. Let's get to the lesson germane. And he's happy and living and born of wrought of death. So the happiness and the life is at the end of the creature. Okay, we have the front of the entity is the kneeling and allowing himself to be a sacrifice. Our lovable Jesus Christ had to allow himself to be taken in the Garden of Gethsemane. He showed that he had the power to tell all of them to go fly a kite. He could have told them all, you know what, I don't want to do this. You know what, Jeremiah, he's a rat, and he is a rat. But I'm gonna go get him. I'm gonna go. Daddy said go get him. Okay. He didn't seek deliverance. He didn't seek the easy way out. That's the point. And he's the horned goat, and he's going to be happy at the end of all of this, and it's going to be born of and wrought of in death. That's why Jesus says in Matthew 10, he who loves his life will lose his life. He who loses his life will gain his life. As a Christian, you've been called to go through the same Capricorn experience that you're looking at. Now, it's obviously not for the purchasing of your sins. The Lord's doing that to purchase sins so that they're gone. Bye-bye, where are they? You're doing it because you love the Lord. That's why you're willing to enter into the same scenario of death to the world, death to pleasure, and death to the bar around the corner, or whatever adults do. I'm talking more to adults right now. Now, let's go to, let's finish this. To surrender the easy life for the hard life, or the life that is pleasurable in the world, and to exchange a lot of pleasures for the benefit of people being saved, psychologically freed, and their hearts no longer being in pain and in sorrow and hurting. That's the goal here, okay? Of Mr. Capricorn. Because the kneeling and the goat and the escape goat went outside the camp to suffer for everybody in the camp. It brought life to everyone. That's the point. And that's why you have a fish other end of the goat. Okay? There's a fishtail there, which represents life and vibrancy. Fish are very vibrant creatures. And I guess that's what the master's saying here with, he's the one who made this sign. So he surrendered, and that's what you have to do. We all have to surrender our lives, essentially as Christians, to be open to daily bread and to say, Lord, give me my daily death activities that are going to bind up the brokenhearted and to set at liberty those who are captive. Okay? And so Exodus 12:5 says, your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. And we're going to stop there. We're going to get into Exodus and talk about this whole thing of a sacrifice and how Capricorn is essentially the one lamb that they practice. See, they were practicing the 2,000 year ago true lamb that's going to take away sins. The lamb or the bullock they're offering before Moses and Aaron and the Levites is not going to take away sin. It's just a practice so that you can see what God's going to do in a couple thousand years. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit about what they did at the first Feast of Unleavened Bread and so forth, and the Passover. Okay? I'm going to shut down right here. This is Jeremiah signing off, rejoicing in the Lord, and we're going to shut down right here and say Maranatha. And of course, that goes back to 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 16:22. Corinthians 16:22. Maranatha, the Lord is coming. We're shutting down here and just rejoicing together with you in this biblical astrology, which is under Science 2022. And that is category 15. With Jeremiah Michael Pearson 2022, with New Covenant Ministries, which means a servitude and a kneeling, just like this Capricorn goat is doing, kneeling to the will of Father. Pleasing Father, offering yourself as a living sacrifice, and that's the only way you can present yourself to God, is in humility and in humiliation before the Lord. And then he will lift you up. Got it? Shalom and Maranatha.